Welcome to the Digital Marketing Insights podcast, brought to you by Brightside Digital.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm delighted to say we have Jennifer today, who's a marketing manager. Jennifer, how are you doing?
Good, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Jennifer, we always start off the show the same. Could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your career to date, please?
Of course, yeah, sure. So, as you mentioned, I am a marketing manager for a company called NewNet. And NewNet is a tech company based in the Web3 sector that's going to decentralize computing power and allow people to sell and monetize their latent computing power and devices across the globe, and then allowing projects or companies to buy that latent power and develop their platforms rather than using centralized companies like AWS or Google for power. So that's what I do now. But so I've been in 2020. I graduated from Tralee IT, and I did a really, really good course there called TV, Radio, and New Media Broadcasting. It's quite a mouthful, but basically fantastic course because it allowed me to kind of explore a lot of areas like, television, audio production, animation, journalism, business, there's like a multitude of things to explore, website design and everything like that. So I chose this course because in secondary school, like most, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I thought at the time, yeah, maybe I'll be a radio presenter, but that was short lived when I realized how hard it's actually to build a career in the radio presenting industry, especially in Ireland. And it just kind of lost appeal to me. So I first kind of got into like marketing with like social media marketing. So while I was on placement from college, I was working in a radio station up in Dublin. Um, and while there actually, kind of my journey into like Web3 and blockchain started back then. I met a really, really interesting, fascinating woman called Gillian Godsall, who's at the time was telling me all about this like blockchain stuff and cryptocurrency and all of this stuff, and it kind of went over my head. I also remember we had a couple of lectures in college where we had one lecturer that was telling us like this is going to be the future, and we were all like, yeah, you're crazy, it's not, and now, I mean, I'm kind of eating my words of where I am now, but really got into social media marketing, and I realized, hey, I can make a good career out of this. So I graduated college in 2020, which was when COVID happened, and I was living back at home. I was working in equine hospital as like kind of admin staff, and I was like, okay, well, there's two things I can do here with this time. One is, to sit at home, make money, and, just live the way I'm living, or, use that time that I have now where things aren't closed and I don't have distractions to better myself, get a little bit more education and figure out what I want to do. So I then did a postgrad in digital marketing and data analytics in LIT, which was great because it was during COVID, it was fully remote. So it really suited me. I was working in the evenings. I was doing the course in the evenings and working during the day. And then I got a job with a company down in Cork, which was an engineering consulting company. I was their marketing executive there. Really, really nice job to start off with. I had a fantastic manager, Jerry, who guided me and give me, well, actually, what was fantastic about it is I didn't have anyone kind of over my back looking over me. What am I doing? Like, you should do this, that, the other, which was nice to be just given free rein and to be trusted. And Jerry was a great leader, and some other staff there as well, Sam and everything. So I was doing that for maybe a year, And then last September, I really started to get into like blockchain and Web3. I avoid using the word crypto because I'm not really a trader. Why I'm into this space is because I believe in the technology and the advancements and what it can do for the future. And also the first thing when you say to someone you work in Web3, they're like, what? And then they're like, crypto. And they're like, ah, if I give you like €500, can you make me $1,000,000? So I try to avoid using that word, but it happens. So yeah, I kind of got back in contact with Jillian. I was doing kind of courses on LinkedIn, YouTube videos on blockchain and how it works, and there was only so much I could learn about it. And then I started to work with a small little crypto project that was decentralizing lottery systems. Again, really great team, and they helped me and helped develop my skills in the space. So then I kind of found that working down in Cork, it was great, but I kind of wanted something more. And I've always kind of had an interest in tech, and that side of things. Product marketing is like another side that I was interested in. So I kind of put my head down, did a bit of studying, did a bit of actually posting on LinkedIn, which is probably what brought me to you, Tom. Basically, I was like, okay, if I'm gonna get a job in this sector, I need to show people I know what I'm talking about. So what I started to do is just break down simple Web3 terms. And as much as people thought I was doing it for them, actually, I was doing it for myself, because without posting those things, I probably wouldn't have researched as much as I did, and I probably wouldn't have understand as much as I do now, because I'm a kinetic learner, so I have to do something in order to get it into my brain, and I knew that. So I knew by creating these posts, I could educate other people, educate myself, and actually put myself in a position where I was attractive for the market. So then, February maybe this year, a couple of projects have reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to work with them. But I actually declined some of them because I didn't really like their working method and their ethos. A lot of crypto projects can be just kind of, we have a token, here it is, get people to buy it kind of thing. I didn't really want that. I wanted to work in a company where there was technology behind it, and there was actually a reason to build something and to work on something and have meaning behind it. And I think that's really important, over any kind of wage you will ever get. Having meaning and doing what you do is really important, and it makes working a lot easier as well. It doesn't really feel like work, which is cool. So yeah, NewNet reached out to me. They're part of a wider ecosystem called SingularityNet, who have a lot of spin-off projects, and NewNet is one of them. So I started to work with NewNet since March, and I'm still there now.
Brilliant. And what would you see as your main skill set in NewNet now? How do you operate your day to day?
So right now, we're in a startup phase, which is important to note, because startup phase is a very exciting phase to be in if you're coming into marketing, and if you're coming into the working world, because you, first of all, you get your hands on a lot more things and you can understand a lot more things. It's not like you're working at one of the biggest companies in the world, and your job is just to schedule out posts, or to do kind of tedious tasks, which I just don't have the patience really for. So one of the main things I do at NewNet, and one of my main strengths, is kind of managing like a global team. So being able to work on campaigns and projects that will develop the NewNet platform on a global basis. So my team right now, we're in 4 or 5, sometimes 6 different time zones, depending where people are. So having been able to manage all of that is probably one of my strengths. And the other thing is being able to grow an organic technically focused community that supports the project. And this is one of the most important things for me, marketing wise, and for the project, is to have a community that's active in the participation of the development of the product. Without people, without testers, without providers, there is no product. So we have to educate people on, onboarding devices, exactly what's going on now, what the developers are working on, and everything like that. That's all organic, because you can't really, you can do some paid social for that and whatever, but realistically, you're going to attract the wrong crowd, which is important that we know that, and we kind of build on that. The other thing that I would focus on is partnerships and relationships with technically minded people that may have YouTube channels, and we collaborate with each other, and they can provide us feedback on the platform, and we can like kind of give them a first glimpse to the platform to help their online community grow as well. So that's kind of the main area of what I do, and some of my strengths in NewNet.
And tell me, is there any campaign work or anything that you're really proud of that you wanted to share with our audience?
Sure. So maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we launched a campaign which is continuous and ongoing, called an earn drop. And for those that may not be aware of the crypto Web3 space, a lot of projects you'll hear airdrop coming up, which is basically, you if you sign up to this list, or if you follow people on socials, you get a drop of tokens in that company's tokens into your wallet. Of course, those tokens have monetary value, and basically it's just to kind of promote the project. What we wanted to do is we wanted to reward our community, but we didn't want to reward to basically, when you mention airdrop, you get like a horde of people that come and just take the airdrop and don't do anything with your tokens or sell your tokens. And we didn't want that, because NewNet tokens are very valuable to us, So what we decided to do was an earn drop. And basically what we are doing right now is rewarding people who are participating in the development of the platform. So it's a very interesting campaign, in terms that it could go anywhere. If we want to do, right now we're working on some NFTs as part of the earn drop that will have utility on the platform. So you can obtain these NFTs, and we only have a certain amount of them, and you'll only get them by physically participating and actively participating in NewNet. So we just were at an event in Colorado, where we had a special NFT for people that came up to our booth and asked us about the project and talked to us. And we said, oh, hey, you can scan this and you get utility NFT. And the utility will be in terms of discounts on the platform, a reputation system for compute providers. And if you're neither a provider or a buyer, you can always sell that NFT on to maybe someone that wants to use the platform as a buyer. So there's a value to everyone. So we've had some really good success with that campaign. We've just kind of launched one aspect of it, and we are, well, we have a Cardano Summit coming up at the end of next month, and we're hoping to launch a few more campaigns by then, and really get the community involved in the development of the product.
So you're definitely talking at the higher levels of what my understanding of Web3 and tokenomics at the moment, Jennifer. But my impression right now is NewNet is its own tokenomics, and so it has its own token, which is the NTX token.
Correct.
So for anyone listening, NewNet, is creating their own token, like a Bitcoin, that can be used in transactions across
Correct.
different platforms. And so is a lot of your business tasks now. So let's say the tech is in place that you have a digital coin, you're looking for almost a marketplace kind of for the tokens to be distribute and spend, or are you trying to create your own platform that the tokenomics will apply to?
Of course, yes. So our token is and apologies for using all this language. I need to. My days are filled with people talking to people in Web3, so I sometimes forget, But basically, the NTX token is a utility token, and what that means is our NTX token will be used on the platform to either buy compute power, or if you sell compute power, you'll be rewarded in NTX.
Okay.
So we'll put it in a kind of story situation. You have latent computing power on your device. You sell it into Newnet. I want to build a platform. So I'm like, okay, Tom has the right, storage that I need, or the power that I need. So I'm going to buy 50 NTX, and Tom, it will go through the platform, and then Tom, you will receive 50 NTX. So it's a transactional token rather than using euro, where we use our own token. And of course, that token has a monetary value, and we'll probably be looking at stabilizing that value, so it's a fair transaction to everyone involved.
And in terms of the computing power, and like who would be used that computer power? And tell me just an example of an industry that would be interested in this service
Of
or
course,
things
yeah.
like that.
So industries, well, of course, Web3 projects will be an example. So any Web3 projects that requires, compute power from a centralized storage could use it. And then we have, Industry 4.0, which kind of looks at like smart cities and everything like that. Essentially, though, anyone can use this power. It's if you were going to build a platform, maybe like LinkedIn or Facebook, you need a certain amount of power behind that platform. And usually this power is kind of owned by centralized people, and they're stored in big silos, like big supercomputers all over the world, and they all just connect into this supercomputer, and all the power comes from that. With Newnet, what we would do is actually kind of give the power back to, it's kind of cringy, but power back to the people, where anyone that has latent computing power can connect up with other computers around the world to create one big supercomputer. And rather than Jeff Bezos getting paid, it's Mary down the road for her PC that she has extra power on, and is not using. Um, so essentially, that's it. It's kind of an ecosystem of multiple computers from all around the world connecting into one centralized platform, and then someone coming in and building, or just if you needed compute power to build on that, and it can never be shut down. So that's the main thing. So centralized providers can just shut down any computer at any time, or any power source at any time. Decentralized computing is a lot harder to shut down, because all 6, 7, 800, we'll say, computers will have a lot more than that, but they all have to shut down at the exact same time in order for our platform to shut down, which is not very unless they all had a WhatsApp group or whatever. I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be. And yeah, like partly I'm learning loads here, Jennifer, but I'm trying to keep up. And
It's okay.
I feel if I can't keep up, some people listening would struggle to keep up as well. So I suppose my first question around this would be: would a lot of Web3 companies at the moment be using Web2
Hmm.
hosting and centralized
Hmm.
platforms? So like some of the big Web3 things we might have heard of,
Uh,
they could be using AWS servers, let's say Amazon servers that you were mentioning there.
correct. Majority of projects that say they're decentralized aren't technically fully decentralized, because they are more than likely built on AWS, or uh, centralized compute provider. And I mean, we're in the very, very early stages of Web3, which is what's really nice about working in this industry now, is because nobody knows the answers to everything. Nobody's like the genius of Web3, because every day you come to work, there's like a new thing happening, or there's a new update, or there's new news, or, something like that. So this is there's only a couple of projects that would mimic kind of what Newnet are doing, but majority of Web3 projects are built on centralized databases. Yes.
Yeah. And in terms of your line of work, is there any particular softwares you use to do your marketing?
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose the caveat there is, how do you upskill and keep on top of one of the fastest emerging
Mm-hmm.
digital spaces?
So, in terms of software, well, software. So if we look at how to actually keep up with this industry and everything like that, there's a multitude of like Hacker Noon is a kind of website where they have articles and everything. The Milk Road is an email, like a subscription email that they send out an email every day, and they break down exactly what's happening in the or crypto Web3 world every day, that's probably one of the best sources if you want to get into it. It's a really short email, and it breaks down in points, what happened in Web3 this week, or what happened in Web3 today. That's really good. In terms of software that I use within like the company for marketing, and to basically perform my job, it's pretty simple actually. The one I would use the most is Microsoft Word, which is sounds funny because it's so, you know basic, but one of the most important things, because I work remotely, one of the most important things is documentation, and being able to show, where these ideas have come from, what's going to happen next, lining out a kind of strategy for that. And then actually another software that I use a lot is Asana, which is a project management tool. And what we do there is like assign the tasks, what has to be done to achieve X goal, or, the different stages. Um, yeah, so that they would be kind of the softwares that I would use most often. For scheduling, we do have a scheduling tool called Loomly, but honestly, I haven't found, and maybe someone out there can build it, but the perfect Web3 scheduling tool, because one I'm looking for now is that it will post Twitter threads, because a lot of crypto is based on Twitter. Post to Telegram, which is kind of a messaging channel, and a lot of people in the Web3 space use it. And then scheduling to Discord as well, because they would be kind of our main channels. So I would use Loomly for Twitter threads, and that's kind of the only software I've found so far that does threads. But other than that, that's kind of it.
And my next question on the podcast would be like looking at future things in the
Mhm.
industry and stuff. But you are in one of those future industries, so I flipped the question: and how would someone like myself get up to speed on such an industry?
Mhm.
Obviously, sign up to the Milk Road and these kind of things to stay up to date. But let's say I don't necessarily want to know anything about the industry. I just want to get an overview of how these things work,
Of
just
course.
from a top level. What would be the best way of you either explaining it or recommending a place to go to understand it?
Of course. Um, so if we're looking at understanding it, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there now, that explains it. Um, in terms of crypto, just yesterday, Bloomberg just released a 40,000 word analysis on crypto, and that is actually gives a really good background to, you know what is blockchain, what is crypto, how it works, what it means for the future, and what we can kind of expect for the future. The other thing as well is social media. But I would be careful in that. And when I say social media, I mean there's probably a few TikTok channels that I will follow that um, has some good information, but what I've found with them is a lot of them are trading based. So if you want to avoid the trading part, I would look at LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a fantastic platform, and that's where I learned like a lot of stuff that I know now, by literally just joining Web3 groups, by following or connecting with people that are like working in that industry, because they'll post stuff. There's one guy, I believe he's Irish. He posts a lot of like links to different documents that are important in the space. So I'll read them. I myself, I tried to post, basic um, definitions and outlines to the Web3 world as well, which I need to pick back up again. But you can really find a lot of information on LinkedIn, and it can be from very basic stuff, which I tend to cover, to more technical and high level stuff, which kind of developers or CEOs or anything like that would cover. So yeah, YouTube, LinkedIn, that would be my advice.
Brilliant summary. And lastly, Jennifer, we always ask on the show, if you could bottle up one personality trait that you have that you could pass on to others, what would it be?
I definitely think it's initiative. Um, Nobody's going to do it for you. Just do it. Um, and I try to live by this thing of, okay, we have a meeting and someone is just like, oh, well, let's set up a call for next week. But don't leave it until next week to set up the call, or until you're finished the call. Set it up there and then. Just take the initiative to do it there and then. These little tasks save so much time, effort, and energy. By taking initiative, you really show that you have an interest in it. And yeah, that would be my probably one bit of advice. An initiative gets you a long way. One of the key things when I got this managerial role was, I always highlighted that, oh yeah, I've done this and this, and they're like, oh, and why did you do that? And I'm like, oh, because I wanted to learn about it, so I had to get into it in order to learn about it. So I think that's probably the biggest one. And maybe honesty as well. I think a lot of marketing sometimes can be very disheartening and dishonest and lead people um, the wrong way. So I would say honesty too.
That's brilliant, Jennifer. And I think the last big question I have for you is, how can people get in touch with you? How, if they want to know more about Web3 or they want to know more about what you guys are up to, how can they get in touch?
Of course. So my main channel right now is LinkedIn. It's kind of sad. It's actually my favorite social media channel. But yeah, LinkedIn. My name is Jennifer Bourke, Bourke. So yeah, you can reach out there, and I'm more than willing to jump on calls with people to help them get into the space, or if they want to learn more about anything. I've been there, and my job, like one of my aims, is to help people, get the job they want. Especially because Web3 is massive. You can have an interest in like horses. There's Web3 projects on horses. Um, yeah, it's a really cool space to be in, and there's plenty for everyone there. So it's just taking the initiative and start reaching out and building up your own connections and knowledge.
Love it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And thank you, Jennifer, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.